Dr. Ben Bikman, insulin resistance is the root cause of many chronic diseases. This is from Mikhaila Peterson podcast number 43, YouTube channel, December 30th, 2020.
The first would be stress. So the primary or the prototypical stress hormones like cortisol and epinephrine, those are directly antagonistic to insulin, and cortisol in particular. So someone who's had to take like a common course of treatment, for example, for rheumatoid arthritis or any type of arthritis might be a cortisol analog like a prednisone or a dexamethasone. And those will cause the body to become insulin resistant very quickly. And then the insulin is going up and now the fat cells are holding on to energy more. And you've had Jason Fung on previously. So this is something he's very much eloquent and elaborated on well in the past. So that's why the person taking these anti-inflammatory steroids, they are cortisol-like molecules. They cause the body to become insulin resistant and then all the consequences that come from that. Inflammation is a distinct cause of insulin resistance on its own. And so, in fact, let's mention rheumatoid arthritis again. That's an autoimmune disease. And like most autoimmune diseases, it will have active and passive phases. You know, the person, their joints are really bad for a couple of days. They're all right now. They're really bad. And that's very likely because of an environmental exposure, as you would know better than most. When many autoimmunities are triggered because of something in the environment, something they're ingesting in some way, shape, or form. So with rheumatoid arthritis, it's interesting to note that when someone is in an active phase of the disease and they have higher inflammation, higher joint pain, you can detect an increase in insulin resistance that ebbs and flows as the disease is more or less active.
So you can measure that?
You can, yeah.
Wow.
There's a study that's been done in humans to show that. Yeah. So that's the second one. Inflammation is a cause of insulin resistance. And then lastly, the one that I believe is the most relevant in a long-term situation is too much insulin itself. Now, the astute listener would remember from just a few minutes ago, well, wait, Ben, you just got done saying that elevated insulin is a feature of insulin resistance. It is. It's also a cause. And we see this in laboratory settings, including from my own lab, but in humans even, if someone has chronically elevated insulin, the body stops responding to the insulin. So too much insulin is a cause of insulin resistance. Now, some people balk at that explanation, but it really is fundamental of just biology. Too much of a stimulus will result in a resistance to that stimulus, whether it is a hormone, whether it is an antibiotic, whether it is a drug, whether taken for medicinal purposes or abused, the person will need more and more of that drug to get the same response that they used to get from a smaller amount. So insulin is no exception. When a stimulus is incessant at a cell, the cell will start to turn down its sensitivity to that signal. And so too much insulin is one of the primary causes of insulin resistance. And then the last one that I need to mention is more of a secondary, because I can't induce insulin resistance, for example, on cells by directly treating the cells with this molecule. But that would be the omega-6 polyunsaturated fatty acid, linoleic acid. So the fat that is abundant in these artificial seed oils, like soybean oil or in Canada, in Alberta, you always see these canola fields. Canola oil is the same. It's these really, I guess, industrial seed oils that 100 years ago had no place in our diet. And they are more of an indirect effect because they make the fat cells become insulin resistant. And when the fat cells become insulin resistant, they're typically the first domino to fall. And I won't elaborate more beyond that, lest I get off on a whole other topic. But insulin resistance is sort of this process of one tissue falling, like it would be the first domino. And I believe it's the fat cells that become insulin resistant first. And in so doing, they then start bumping into other tissues like muscle, liver, brain, etc.
Summary. Causes of insulin resistance. 1. Stress. 2. Inflammation, an autoimmune disease. 3. Excess insulin. It stops the body from responding to insulin. And 4, linoleic acid, or omega-6. It makes fat cells insulin resistant.